Hi, Dr. H here with Family Centered Parenting. Today I want to talk about a study, and in a sense, the study kind of disturbed me because it was making the wrong point. And let me give you the background, and I'm going to read something to you exactly from the study so we get it really, really clear what was said. Conservative and very conservative, and they mean politically conservative parents, are the most likely to adopt the parenting practices associated with adolescent mental health. Study author Jonathan Rothwell, who's also the principal economist at Gallup and non-resident senior fellow at the Brookings Institute, wrote, Liberal parents score the lowest, even worse than very liberal parents, largely because they are the least likely to successfully discipline their children. Wow. So now we're getting parenting tied in to political philosophy, which is fine if that's, where you want to go. However, I think it misses the point. Now, he goes on to say that conservative parents have several key distinctions in their relationships with their children that inform mental health outcomes. Rothwell explained that including being able to effectively discipline their children while also displaying affection and responding to their needs is the key to having children and adolescents who are mentally or emotionally more secure and healthy. Okay, but I think he's missing the point. The key role is effectively discipline. And I think what he's getting at is why maybe parents who identify as liberal maybe tend not to be effective disciplinarians. And that could be true. And part of it is maybe too much attention to to the interior emotional life of their children, a little too concerned, maybe overly compassionate to a child being upset or not getting their way. They might be more likely to give in, or they're seeing the world as a more challenging place and therefore want to go easy on their kids. Gee, we're in the middle of a pandemic. How am I going to, really enforce discipline? Or there's so much confusion going on in the world, or the political dialogue that we hear on the news is so disturbing that, I want to take it easy on my kid. I want to give in and make nice. So that's, I think, the key is to understanding that effective discipline and how to be an effective disciplinarian without being an authoritarian parenting. And I often make the distinction between authoritarian parenting and authoritative parenting. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is. Authoritarian tends to be arbitrary, tends to be one-way communication. I'm the dad, this is the way it is. I'm the mom, do it my way. Keep quiet, no more, do it my way. Now, in a sense, as long as there's no really physical abuse going on or any harsh consequences, it seems that that approach to parenting, especially with younger children, doesn't seem to be a huge problem. Children are afraid of their parents, they do what they're told, they're obedient. Unfortunately, that starts to break down as they get a little older, when some of their techniques of just saying, do it because I say I'm the mom, when you're dealing with a 15-year-old teenager, it doesn't work very well. So authoritative means strong discipline without being one way, without being harsh. And that's where effective discipline, and it's so important. And I spend a lot of time in my book, Family-Centered Parenting, Your Guide to Growing Great Families, where I make the distinction and spend at length talking about the difference between discipline and punishment. Now, liberal parents, maybe the word punishment or their desire to be responsive to the emotional needs of their children, maybe they go too far. And I think that's what this particular study has probably picked up. Parents who identify as liberal maybe fall into the category of not being real good in discipline because somehow they interpret discipline as somehow not respecting the emotional needs of their children. So the key is, how do you become a good disciplinarian, which does take into account the emotional needs of your children, and yet at the same time is not harsh and arbitrary. And that's why I'm such a strong advocate of, one, the family meeting, where we make clear when things are not in a situation of unrest, that we discuss openly and discuss what are the rules in this family, what are the expectations of all parties. We give our children a chance to offer their input before a final decision is made, so they feel heard and respected, and they feel their sense of power is there and can be expressed legitimately. We want our children to feel empowered, but we want them to feel empowered in a positive way, not empowered by acting out or just doing whatever they can to get our attention, even negative behaviors to get our attention. We want positive empowerment. And they get that by being heard, by having the ability to contribute to decision making. But ultimately, when a decision is made, now here's the key. Once a decision is made, that's when you become, let's call it strict. And we'll bring out a word. Can you be a liberal? Can you be authoritative? Can you be fair and still be strict? Absolutely. It's when you are strict. Strictness comes when a rule is broken that is already agreed upon. That's when you don't compromise. That's when you do not negotiate. There is no room. The child has accepted that this is a standard of behavior that's acceptable. There's no excuse for breaking that rule. And so in our family-centered program, we talk about how to approach a rule breaking. What are the steps we take? We can do it orally, we can do it in a written form, but what we're doing is getting our children to take responsibility for their behavior, especially their negative behavior, and to understand why it was happening, and also to make a plan for change. And if they've done harm to someone or something, the best way to make up for it is through restitution. So there's room to be strict. The key is, when are we strict? So my message to liberal parents, yes, be compassionate, but compassion doesn't mean we stop discipline. As long as we discipline in a way that's authoritative, not authoritarian. And for our conservative parents, fine, but keep in mind, be respectful, be a good listener to your child's needs. It's okay to be strict, but on the other hand, and to create safety, and children know what to expect, but on the other hand, don't forget the compassion and the understanding and the love that's really important. So let's go beyond the politics of conservative and liberal, and let's talk about how we can be effective disciplinarians and still have that love and compassion for our children. And again, you can get more information on my website, familycenteredparenting.com. You can get our book, Family-Centered Parenting, on Amazon. It's available. And also, you can book a free consultation by filling out the form on the website, and I'll be happy to talk to you in person for initial free consultation. So for now, take care, and this is Dr. A signing off. Bye-bye.